Hello, everyone, and welcome to our monthly CraftyJoy Podcast.
We're a little late this month, but I think that it's just fine. Summer vacation for a lot of us today.
Yes, because we are in the creative flow.
It's been a month-long, multi-month-long journey of creative flow over here, doing lots of fun, beautiful projects and personal projects and exciting new projects.
Yeah. So our topic is creative flow. That's our theme for the month.
Yes.
And, it's something that, I don't know, maybe it's been overused, the whole being in the flow, creative flow, that you hear it and you hear it and you hear it, and it kind of means nothing after a while. That's how it is for me. I'll speak for myself.
Right.
And I have to say, all right, so a few weeks ago, I went to Mount Shasta, and I wrote about this. I actually have a whole blog post about this. Went to Mount Shasta, doing a hike, and I was up on the mountain, and I all of a sudden had this like vroom, hit about flow state that, I mean, it's not like it was an aha moment for me, although I had heard it and heard it and heard it, but it just kind of clicked in, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes it's the right time, right place.
Yeah. And that moment was about how you find the flow when you stop resisting. And I mean, I'm a queen of resisting. So,
are you?
Well, sometimes, yeah, like kind of pushing up against things because I'm sort of a perfectionist. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you go.
Well, I think that that's a really beautiful way to kind of reframe the subject of flow state, because like you said, a lot of us are familiar with the concept of a flow state and entering your creative practice and trying to chase this flow state. What does that even mean? What is flow state?
Yeah.
So it's kind of been set up to be this thing of maybe like creative expression at its finest. You kind of, the rest of the world blurs away and all you have is what's in front of you. That's a really cool place to be in when you're creating, but it's also hard to find. It's hard to land in that place. So for you, you're finding that it's easier when you're not resisting. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like chasing the flow state is the opposite. I mean, that's like the opposite. You can't find flow by chasing.
Yeah.
It's like you have to just sit back and be quiet.
Yeah.
In a way, I remember the first time I felt flow state really intensely, and perhaps I've been chasing it ever since. And this was a long time ago. It was, back in the day when I was making those paper dresses, and I had a runway show coming up, and I had 7 dresses to make. And I remember just going into that zone and how, like you said, everything blurred, and I just felt the rhythm and I felt things moving. It's like something clicked and I was in an alternative universe in a way. And since then, I've always like tried to find that again, and I have in bits and pieces. So I guess that was my chasing part.
Yeah.
And then again, a couple weeks ago, it's just like let go of the resistance. So I've been practicing that on multiple levels, not just when I'm creative, but if I'm in a conversation with a person and I feel some resistance, rather than pushing back, maybe just dropping down and just stop the resistance. So for me, it's a big deal. So big of a deal that I actually made a little printable poster for you all and myself.
Read it.
It says, in flow, there's no forcing, no pushing, no resistance, only the sweet surrender to what wants to emerge.
I think that's really lovely.
Yeah, and this little art piece behind it reminded me a lot of Mount Shasta, the colors that I saw.
Go ahead and put it here so we can show you in the
Oops, I think we need to turn around.
There we go.
Okay.
This. Yeah, I think this is a really lovely thought. I am also curious. I'd like to know what it means to you when you say you stop resisting. What does that look like?
When I'm creating a new paper flower and I'm working on designing it, I have quite a few in front of me right now because we'll tell you in a minute why. And I'm trying to invent something a little bit new and different. If I feel myself going into a forced state of kind of frustration, or it's not working, or it's just, it's feeling forced, I think that's a really good time to pause, step away, go outside, to do something to break that forcing, and then just kind of breathe into it and come back at another point, or maybe even a few minutes later. That's kind of how I see it in my creative process, because whenever I am trying to create something, and it's that, I have to get it done, which I'm facing right now in a big way.
Yeah.
It's not going to turn out. It's just, and it's also, it's painful.
But that is interesting because you are somebody, I know you well enough to know that you are somebody that works very well under pressure. And those paper dresses is just one example of you had a time crunch.
Yeah.
But this flow state still emerged. And I think for you, almost that time crunch facilitates
It
to an
does.
extent.
It does. And it also facilitates in practicing on being in the flow. I mean, I think I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I feel like I am a queen of procrastination in some ways. Like I'll put it off until I have to or until I'm ready, which then may cause some tension. So what a great place to practice, right? So
practice resisting your procrastination.
well, that too. Exactly.
But also, again, I know you well enough to know that even if you are procrastinating, it's probably because you're doing 10 other things.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, there's always a lot on my plate. But part of what I'm working on right now, and I haven't announced this to anyone, so hey,
First time.
We're talking about it. We're writing a new book, and it's going to the publisher in August.
So you have to have it done.
It has to be done. Yeah, so putting pressure on myself to have everything done and balancing that with my perfectionism and then balancing that with, every other thing we have to get done as well. It's kind of a juggle.
Yeah.
So I think in a funny way, I have presented myself with the perfect opportunity to practice flow state like I have never done before.
And do you feel like your best flower creations come from that place?
In flow? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I feel forced, I might as well just throw it away. Step away and come back later. Yeah.
For me, I know my flow state kind of comes, I have to set up a very strong environment for myself. I know for me, my environment really makes all the difference.
Oh, it does to me too.
And
Absolutely.
as somebody who, has ADHD and gets really distracted, I kind of have to be in...
Don't we all?
Yeah. I have to be in my little bubble. So I have my art area, my room, and I go there. And that is where I work. And I have it set up how I need it. I have everything organized. And I also have found that I have to almost have silence in a way. Well, we often will fall back on an audiobook or a podcast or even a TV show in the background or music. Sometimes I feel like those stimulations can be distracting and kind of almost prevent us from entering that flow state. Even if we feel that it's aiding, our mind takes a back seat and our hands take over, which is nice when you're doing busy work.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the creative thinking process, silence is what facilitates my flow state.
Yeah, that is so interesting you brought that up, because yesterday I was actually back here on this table working all day, and I noted that I had no music, nothing. I just worked back here in silence, and it was beautiful. I loved it.
I feel like that quiet, the quiet space, we've kind of stripped ourselves of in our modern era of needing stimulation a lot of the time. If I'm ever coming up with any new concepts or thinking beyond just busy work, silence is the only way to really achieve that.
Yeah, that's a really perfect way to pause and drop in, is just having that silence.
Yeah. If I'm feeling that resistance in my creative practice, which is frequent, not for work, but for personal, I've found that breaking out of what I'm doing. So if I'm sitting down, I'm like, I want to work on this, and I'm feeling that resistance, just sitting instead, switching over to a scratch page and just maybe drawing circles or doing squiggles or drawing a bunch of trees or drawing one single tomato 15 times, which I just recently did.
Okay.
Is a really cool way to break the resistance.
Yeah.
Because your hands get used to the action.
The repetition, which I think is actually a perfect segue into, doing paper flowers and crafting, along with us with some of the projects that we have. Here's a perfect example, and that is this little project here, where you're forming the same shapes again and again and again.
Yeah, let me tell you, this took me 4 days.
But it's gorgeous.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It took me so long to make this, but I love how it turned out. And this was actually a remake. I just have to talk about this now.
Yeah.
This was actually a remake of our first wreath, which at this point was how old?
13 years ago.
And it was still in good condition. It was
a little faded.
But this, I wanted to pull in my favorite colors of green and purple. And I really love how this came out.
Yeah, I think it was worth the 3 days.
In 4 days.
4 days, whichever it took. But yeah, this to me, I look at it, and not only because I've made it before, 13 years ago, I kind of feel that flow because it's a repetition, but also the colors just make me want to flow.
In fact, while we're chatting about our collection, I'll just mention our entire collection this month is kind of an ocean theme, pulling
Coastal.
in that flow. Like I just keep looking at these little clams that Krista made because they're kind of bananas. Check out this stitching. What the heck? What the heck is this, Krista? Insanity. She's so talented. If anybody makes these, please show us.
Yes, to put in your child's kitchen, their felt food kitchen,
or your felt sea animal collection.
There we go. Yeah. So going to the coastal theme, we tried to pick flowers and different plants that really spoke more to a coastal theme, like the jade, the ocean jade. I think it's beautiful and felt.
This just makes me feel like I'm sitting at the seaside.
Yes, it does. We also have some little remakes of the seahorses, which I think are adorable.
Yes, I made this guy, and I think he's so cute.
Yeah. And then as far as like paper flowers go, we have, of course, our wisteria.
Yes, and this is our member make this month, which will be really fun. People have been requesting the wisteria for a long time.
I know. That says flow right there. It
Seriously.
just drops and flows. And then we have a beginner flower there. That's our beginner anemone, which is really fun to make for anyone who's new. You can see right there. We also have a cardstock flower here. And
what are these ones?
I can't remember why. I can't remember.
Not zinnia. Well,
Hold that thought. Sorry, Matthew.
That's okay. We'll find out later. We'll put a little asterisk with the name.
Yeah. Now that one is actually made with a cutting machine. So even though it's very complicated, it's quite easy once you get it cut out.
And it looks so real.
Then we also have a Crafternoon that we're doing. And this one is a beginner-friendly lavender. And I don't know. I see lavender along the coastal Oregon coast. So I think that kind of fits in.
I think so too. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. One of our last favorite projects that we did this month. This is a little paper card. Sardines are very on trend right now, but look at these. They come out. Oh gosh. Imagine like writing a little cute affirmation or something on the back.
Yeah.
You can pull it off and it would say like, "You're so pretty."
On a sardine, I don't know how, I guess this is more ocean theme versus flow theme, but it's still pretty cool. Yes. And of course, we have a cute little watercolor that you can do. And
Nothing better than getting you into flow state, like painting with watercolor.
To me, this is sort of like drawing circles around and around because it just sort of lets you play.
Yes. And I did take a video of this, which will be up very shortly, on how I did this gradient with watercolor. And this is a woodblock print that we found that I thought was just so pretty. I couldn't resist painting over it.
But so, there's our project.
There's our collection. Beyond that, our flow state. And then congratulations on this book. This is so exciting.
It's exciting. I'll be glad when it's done.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do a new book for quite some time. This is another crepe paper flower book, but it's with all of our new techniques and all of our new materials. And of course, Megan is assisting with this because she has some amazing flowers that we are putting in the book. There's some new flowers, but then also quite a few of our favorites.
And how long has it been since the first book came out?
It will be 8 years. Wow. Yeah. I know, time flies.
And that
talk
book
about
is
flow,
still people still talk about it.
Yep.
I get emails about it all the time. So.
I know. But we've come along so far that I'm really been dying to write an update for the book. So
8 years is a long time.
It is.
We have grown so much. And I think a lot of our crafters have also grown and are looking to, and I don't know, I love having a real physical thing.
I do too.
So it's kind of nice. It's a nice thing to add to your bookshelf collection.
Yeah, exactly. We'll let you know when that is coming out, but just a little sneak, well, not really peek, but note that that's coming along.
Very exciting. Is there anything else about the flow state that you'd like to discuss today?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like for me, I would say that this is something that I've been learning quite some time. In fact, when I went to Sedona, I keep saying Sedona. When I went to Mount Shasta, it was for a meditation retreat, and it's the same group that I've been working with for quite a while. And one of the things that we talk about and that we learn, and it's simple, is to ground yourself. And so for me, in order to go into flow, it also means I ground myself. Because I don't want to float off. I just want to flow.
I mean, that's really interesting. And I'm a very up here person, and I have a hard time grounding myself sometimes. And I think I probably do it subconsciously to a point, but I'd like to start doing that more consciously. And
a really easy way to do that for anyone is take off your feet and walk in the grass.
Take off your feet.
Take off your feet. I'm sorry. Take off your shoes and walk in the grass. Don't take off your feet. That's just a really quick and easy way. Or even sit on the ground, sit on the bare ground.
Yeah. That's called touching grass for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, there we go. If you have any thoughts or anything you want to add, just put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'd love to hear how you enter your own flow state, or if you have found any resistance coming up around that. We love chatting with you and hearing about your experiences. Yeah, in fact, in the post where we have this little printable poster, we've had 2 people respond with their stories, and it was so precious and so beautiful to hear about how others have gone through their own process of finding that space, and it inspires everyone. So pop over there and you can share your story there as well. Great. All right. We'll see you next month.